It's quiet again.
I was ready to hear from Mike about his videos.
Yeah, I want to hear about that real quick. What do we got?
Wait, I'm missing something here. What about what videos? Help us out, Tracy.
Michael, the video that your daughter took of you chopping wood in slow motion.
I don't know how to put that on there. You have to go to my Facebook thing. Something, I don't know.
Oh, that's too funny. All right. Well, hey, it is 11 o'clock. Welcome, everybody, to our monthly team meeting. I'm super excited to see some smiling faces.
Hang on a minute. Come here.
Who you got? Hi, Mike. So if you, yeah, welcome everybody. I'm super excited for this one. And as soon as we get to that slide right there, you'll have a better understanding why I'm so excited. When we read down through these belief systems, or our belief, today the one that jumps out at me is success results through people, and you'll all be happy to know that this is probably the last time I'll be doing the intro and taking the helm on this. We've got Anthony joining us, and he's going to be taking the baton, and I think you're gonna really enjoy having him at the center of these rather than me going forward, and I know I will as well. So while Nate has the slides that he wants to jump into next, before we do that, Anthony asked if he could do a little icebreaker here, so I'm going to let him jump in. I hope he's ready to go. Are you here? Are you here? Maybe he disappeared on me. So we're not doing an icebreaker. Let's go. Oh boy, I love it. Well, while we wait for him, welcome Adam Doyle to the Dave Hook team. I've heard he's crushing it already. So welcome to the team. It's good to see you around the office here. Rhonda, welcome to the John Olsh team.
Woohoo!
Again. Hold on. Bernard Adams, welcome. He's jumping into productivity coaching along with Gabriel and Cy, which are the next two. And I think I got Anthony texting me with some technical issues. So bear with me for just a second, please. Sorry, everybody. All right. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Just want to take a moment and just formally say thank you to all of our veterans, as well as family members. Just please take a second and please accept our appreciation here. We have, speaking of success through others, we've got a number of cappers from the last couple of weeks here. Julie Hess team, congratulations. Denny Ekman, knocking it out of the park, selling some big farms too. Tracy, congratulations. And Maggie as well, congratulations. Oh, there he is. He made it. Technical difficulties over with.
Susan and Josiah are over on the Google Hangout as well. I asked them to come over here. I'm not sure if I lost them or not, but just wanted to give you a heads up if you're able to communicate.
There's Cy. I can see Cy on here. I don't see Susan. All right, hey, you're up for your icebreaker, Anthony. We got through some of the welcome, so I'm going to let you insert your icebreaker. You with us?
He's muted. There you go.
Got it. What I thought would be fun, I wasn't expecting it this quick. If we did a short exercise, if everybody would be okay with that, and then the results of that exercise will be real short and sweet. If you can plop those in the chat box, it's in an effort to, one, get to learn a little bit more about everybody, and then I think you guys can learn more about each other. And then it's specifically just about core values. And with so many people here on the call, I think it's a good idea to have everybody just go through a core value exercise and just tell us what's most important to you, because it's going to be different for everybody. But I think what you'll see is we all have common core values. If I could share my screen, this is, Matt, are you able to let me share the screen?
I don't think I'm the host. I think Nate's the host. Nate, are you with us?
While we wait, the instructions are really simple. What I want you to do is just take a blank piece of paper. And I want you to write down the name of 3 people who had a lot of impact on your life and that you admire. So it wouldn't be somebody that had negative impact on your life. It's somebody that you admire and they've had a lot of personal impact on your life. So for instance, if I admire Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan for their work ethic, I can't write them down because I don't know them personally. So it has to be 3 people that you know personally that have had a big impact on your life and you admire. And we'll just take about 60 to 90 seconds to write those 3 people down. Okay, if everybody's ready to move to step 2, pretty simple. Down the right-hand side of the paper, next to each name that you have written down there, I want you to think of 3 to 7 characteristics of that person that you admired, right? So you've written down these 3 people that you admire and they've had an impact on your life. I want you to write down the 3 to 7 things that you admired about that person. There are some examples that are here. So they're compassionate, does the right thing, shows honesty and integrity, hungry for achievement, exhibits professionalism. And then I'm going to stop sharing now because I don't want to give it all away. But that's the idea. You want to write down the characteristics that you admired most about those folks. I'm doing mine as well, so we'll take another maybe 2 to 3 minutes.
How many per person? Did you say 3 to
3 to
7?
7 things that you admire about that person. All right, I'm seeing a lot of people sort of sitting back, and then there's some people who are still writing, so we'll take another minute to finish up here. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask. Okay, as everybody's wrapping up, I'll just go ahead and share the next steps here. First, before I do, I just want to thank everybody for coming on the call today, taking time out from your day to hear what we have to, review, introduce, improve. We've done a lot of, I'll say, networking with, some of the top members, the ALC members within the company, and have some pretty good feedback for you guys today. So I'm excited about that. And let's get rolling here with core values. Does anybody want to volunteer to share?
I can go.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so you just want me to read the name of the person and then a little bit about what I admire?
Yeah, so let me set up the next steps here. What you're really looking for, I'm going to cheat and jump all the way to the end. What you're really looking for is you're looking for the commonalities, right? So if Dave has brother, mother, and former boss, what are the common things that he admired through those relationships? And then those are essentially your core values. I think you'll be surprised. So go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so the funny part about this, and I never realized this until this moment, and I took the easy road. It's my mom, my dad, and my wife had a big impact on me, obviously. And as I look at the commonalities, some of them are showing up as some of our team's core values, right?
Exactly.
So it's ironic. But I wrote in here, both my dad and my mom and my wife work really hard. They're all accountable and reliable. I wrote on here integrity, compassionate and caring, others first. And my mom just constantly positive and optimistic. So those are the 5 to 6 things that showed up over and over again.
That's awesome, man. And if you could find ones that are in common, even if it's just 2 that are in common, mother, brother, whoever it may be, those are mine, by the way. Whoever it is, those commonalities, if it's common between 2 people, it's essentially a core value of yours. You may agree.
Yeah.
It's not set in stone, but what I want you guys to think about is whether it's you personally joining an organization like ours, whether it's you building a business and putting people under you into your organization, core values leads us. It's undeniable. It's in us. So it's important to find core value matches. And then ultimately, as you grow an organization, particularly as you own your own company, one thing you want to do is make sure that everybody that's getting on your bus and has a seat on your bus mirrors your core values. Now, in an organization our size, when you get up to 138 people, not everybody's going to be the same. And what we have to do then is celebrate our differences, recognize the similarities. And then, you know, a good way to do that here is just for all of us to share, you know, and respect each other for that. So anybody else want to go next?
Julie says.
Go ahead.
I'll go. So same thing, Dave. I ended up with my mom first, my coach Wally second, and actually my son Stephen third. And the interesting with my mom was that honestly, guys, I never realized it until last year when she passed and I wrote her eulogy. I feel like I learned a lot more in her death than I did while she was living, because I challenged myself to write that, and I took about a week writing it. And the thing with my mom is she never complained, and she did everything without, I mean, no matter what it was, she never complained. And I remember David Gents talking about that when we had, you know, a meeting months ago. She had a great sense of humor, which I love. I love being around people who have a great sense of humor. And my mom was a meek woman, but not by any means did that mean that she was weak. And it took me a long time to understand that when she turned the other cheek. And it made me realize that there's just a few things that are important in life, and mostly everything isn't important. And she understood that. And then it kind of correlates, Anthony, with all of a sudden my son, you know, never complains. He has a child with disabilities, and his fiance just battled with cancer. And yet I never ever heard him to complain, seek to understand. He's kind to all, and he's a very hard worker and integrity. And so it's interesting when you were, like you said, looking at the similarities, you know, I really admire my son and my mom, and then my coach, same thing, always positive, his integrity, and he lost a son as well a couple of years ago, and, you know, never just stayed on top of things, and just, you know, so those are people that really feel like have an impact on my life. Yeah. So there you go.
Awesome, Julie. Thank you.
Yep.
So what would you say your commonalities are? If you had to pick three, what would you say the common ones are?
So you mean commonalities with me?
Mm-hmm. Commonalities between the people you admire.
I think the big thing, it's going to sound silly, but sense of humor. Oh my gosh, I love a good sense of humor. And so my son has a good sense of humor. Wally has a great sense of humor. And my mother always had a great sense of humor.
Awesome.
Yep. And then the other thing is that whole not complaining. That, you know, no matter what, like my mother did everything without complaint. Never.
They call that perspective.
Perspective. Okay.
Perspective and belief. Yep.
And same thing with my son. I mean, he could complain about a whole lot right now, and yet he doesn't. And then the other thing was hard worker. He manages the Hilton, and so they've gone through a lot, and yet, you know, he had to step up, and he's been right in there with, you know, all of the COVID. And my mother was a hard worker, always at work. Used to drive my dad nuts. She worked all the time. She was a hard worker. And the same thing with Wally. So I'd say, you know, those are kind of the commonalities I see. Yeah, the three. And integrity.
Awesome.
So there's four, sorry.
Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you sharing.
Yeah.
So guys, share in the chat box if you can. I want to just go through a couple here that are in here now, and then maybe we can do one more person live. I really appreciate this. So we have Sinjin, passionate, loving, loyal, work ethic, puts others first. That's awesome. John, love, fun, magic. It's pretty cool, man. Thanks. You want to expand on that, John?
Yeah, I guess there's just always a magical side to life, and just the intrigue and the unknown. Yeah, I just had a lot of influence with that.
It's awesome, man. I love it. Thank you. Adam Doyle says selfless and determined. Kim is integrity, work ethic, compassion, faith, grit, loves animals. CJ Longnecker, honesty, integrity, empathy. So you see integrity, honesty showing up, hardworking showing up quite often. And then as a company, really what you're looking at is you're starting to see the commonalities of the company, right? And I'm sure that you guys would see how you're in line with your leadership as well, between Matt and Dave and Nate. This is really good. Julie's hardworking, loyal, positive, always learning and growing. Learning and growing is one of mine as well. Andrew Johnson, walk by faith, work ethic, selflessness, love it. Sue, hardworking, determined, overcoming obstacles. Sheila Mitchell, caring, hardworking, and honest. Cindy, honesty, compassion, mentorship of sharing knowledge and empathy. A lot of commonalities here between us guys. This is really good. And not that it has to be that we're all the same. Like I said, you know, we'll celebrate differences as well. Just recognizing that in each other. Is that Karen here? Work ethic, faith, integrity, helps others, sense of humor. Maggie, loyal, calm, work ethic, never gives up. I did pleasure of meeting Maggie, and I would say that those are all definitely you, Maggie. Sai, motivating, intelligence, compassion, forward thinking, positive, honesty. Brian, family values, leadership. Mike, Braddock, work ethics, selfless with time and money. Moral, ethical compass, awesome. Mona, genuine, honest, patient, and kind. Tracy, when you say mine are the same, sisters, parents, and husband, are you referring to Julie? You there, Tracy? I'm going to keep going, Tracy.
Okay,
Carrie's in.
yeah.
Go ahead.
It was basically, I think I went off of what Dave Hook said.
Gotcha. Cool. So hardworking. I think maybe others first was another one of Dave's. Carrie, integrity, passion, caring, and planning. Nate, on the one that's my name, not NCA. So I did it twice. Gotcha. Rhonda, honesty, respect, devotion to family, confidence. It's good. Mike DeReamer, can you ask a question? Yes, you may.
Hey, Anthony, curious about what if some of your answers are, you know, qualities that you value in others that you think you need to improve on personally?
Good one. You may have stumped me.
Okay. Just
I
curious
would
what your thoughts
say-
on that.
So let's start with the basics. Were you able to define some core values that you do line up with?
Certainly.
Okay. And then are the other ones that you're striving to get better at, are they outside of those core values that you believe you already have?
Yeah. So areas of improvement in my personal life and business is, you know, consistency. And that kind of, you know, discipline and dedication are areas that I really want to improve. And I find myself latching on to people as role models who exhibit a lot of strength in those areas.
Yeah. So let's put it this way. It's important to you,
Yep.
right? And just because you're not good at it right this second doesn't mean it's not important to you and you shouldn't strive to do it and that it's not part of you. You just may not be good at it yet. So I would say it's still a core value.
Okay.
And pretty cool for you to recognize that it's something that you want to improve upon.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And
Yep.
Mike, thank you for bringing that up, because as I was writing my list, my sister is one of my people. And one of the things that I so admire about her is her grit. And that is something that I think that she is like far exceeds me in. And it's something that I would like to develop more in myself. So I can totally relate to your question, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what I was hitting on.
Yeah, and I just want to add too, Mike. I feel like when I think about core values, the key word is value. So like I value, you know, that my mom is just a positive, optimistic person, and my wife is compassionate. And because I value it so much, I think for my journey, I'll always be trying to get better and striving in that area, because if I didn't value it, I wouldn't want to get any better at it. So I can relate to that as well.
Appreciate it.
Let's take a look at this another way, because it's important to recognize the reason why companies set core values for their organization is because when people don't display those core values or they don't line up, it's eventually going to rub you the wrong way. So essentially what we're saying here, Mike, is that you have these core values, and the fact that you're not living up to them yourself is already rubbing you the wrong way. And when you establish core values, they're not just for the organization, for everybody to, embody those, they're for you as well. And when you feel like it seems to me, you may be feeling like you're violating your own core values by not pursuing excellence in those areas, or getting better at them. So I just wanted to make it apparent that core values aren't just us. The use of them in business is so that we're all aligned, and that and recognize that, hey, like if you're starting to feel like somebody's rubbing you the wrong way, they might just be rubbing up against one of your core values. So it's a guide for us to follow. Make sense? All right, guys, any more questions before I turn it back over to Matt and we move on?
Just love the context. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome exercise, Anthony. I am, we've got a little bit more agenda, and then I can't wait to go back to digging a little deeper with you, Anthony. For anybody who hasn't noticed yet, he's hitting the ground running and a take charge kind of guy, and got more engagement in the last 10 minutes in this call than I've managed to get in a call in quite a while. So I'm super excited to continue this conversation here in a few. Nate, can we go back to the slides here?
Give me 1 second.
Oh, Nate is not on.
He asked me to transfer the screen share back to him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know how to transfer it back.
All right, so you're gonna go to, how about I just share it? I will do that. I swear we will get our, we are a tech company. We'll get this. We will get this. All right. Everybody see my screen now?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know where the present button is. There it is. All right. So upcoming events, I think, is where we left off. Is that right? Yep. So just a couple housekeeping items. So one of the things, actually, this is not a housekeeping item. This is a really big item, and it really ties into, I think that the exercise Anthony just walked us through is that this is just kind of felt like a year of kind of putting out fires and being somewhat reactive, and everybody being behind a screen, and just this whole virtual world is leading to a feeling of disconnect for a lot of us, and wanting to be really, really intentional about getting people back into community and relationship, and having conversations that are, that are just inclusive. And we recognize that, that we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and we've got a number of people who very rightfully so have real concern around that. And yet we've also have people who have have a longing to be together and interact and engage in a safe way. And so if you look at our training calendar this month, in Carlisle last week, Dave led a discussion with about 8 or 10 people. And it's just a small group, super interactive. The agenda is pretty open. It's a discussion about the industry, about what's working in the business. And it's really designed for agents who are, generally in that 6 to 25 transaction. But that's not to say that if you've only done 4, you're not invited. And if you've done 50, you're not invited. Everybody's welcome. And yet it's really meant to be a small group and a collaborative mastermind. And just know that while there's only a handful of these on the calendar right now, it's because we've got to put one foot in front of the other. And over time here, we're gonna add more small groups, and the audiences will be a little bit more nuanced in each one of them. Dave, is there anything from last week that you want to add to that?
Yeah, actually, I'd love to pick on a few people on this call. Maybe Maggie's smiling. You shouldn't have smiled, Maggie. Maybe Maggie and then Mana, if you could just, because I see you first, just briefly give me something that I got emails from both of you, maybe something that you appreciated about that meeting for the rest of the group.
I think for me, just being able to sit down with a group of people again, like-minded people, and share experiences of, what we have been experiencing kind of on our own little islands together as a group, in a very organic kind of situation was really helpful to me.
Awesome. Mana, anything to add?
Yeah, just very similar. It was nice to bounce ideas off of each other. Like Matt was saying, just feeling very separated and missing being together with others and saying, what could I do in this situation, or how could I handle that, or what's working for you, was just very helpful. It was good for my soul.
Yeah, me too. And I'll just piggyback on what Matt said. As when organizations are really small, you can go into the organization, and because you kind of meet regularly and you have a voice in that small group, you can say, if somebody says, how's the organization? They might say, yeah, it feels like community. I know everybody, that sort of thing. As organizations get bigger, what we've learned, and I think it was a good learning experience for Matt and I, is if we're not intentional about creating smaller relational groups where people can actually interact and have a voice, yeah, it's okay and great to interact, as Anthony just took us through, once a month in this setting. And yet to be able to get on the ground level with people that are sharing the same challenges in their business was hugely helpful. For me personally, I got a lot out of it, and I think other people in the group. So we hope to lay out more of these small groups, as Matt said, as time goes on and as we look to 2021.
Cool. Well, again, mine is, my first one is tomorrow morning in Enola. Again, the plan is to be in the training room, socially distant, just being safe. And so if you and I haven't already talked and you're interested, if you wouldn't mind just shooting me either a quick email or text and let me know that you plan to attend. Love to see you. Also tomorrow afternoon, win-win transaction strategies with Gary. Everybody, if you're new to the company or new to real estate in general, Gary is always probably one of our most sought after, not just in our company, in the whole region, trainers, and just so insightful. So that is all virtual tomorrow. Is that correct, Gary? I hope you're on here. I think I saw an email that it is.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, it is. We're just going to do Zoom tomorrow.
Okay, and that is through the training room as well. So
yes,
it's at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
All right, just to run through a couple quick numbers. I think it's always helpful for us to talk about the language of real estate and where the market is. So looking at closed units for the month of October. So this is October versus October. Bright MLS closed units were up 11.5% over last October. We as a company were up about almost 22%. Closed volume. So closed volume was up about 22% for Bright versus closed units only up 11. So that shows you again that the average prices are increasing. Listings taken, again, we're at a point where listings taken units is up only 5.8%, but the volume is up 20. So people are pricing them significantly higher than they would have been a year ago. And then listing sold volume you can see is also up 22%. It's crazy numbers, and this is indicative of what we're all kind of feeling in the market. I think the exciting part for me to see is that in all of the metrics, with the exception of listing units sold, in all of the metrics that are on the screen, our company is outpacing the other companies within Bright MLS. And in most cases at a pretty significant level. I was waiting for somebody else to click the next screen, and it's me again. So again, speaking about our company specifically, in the month of October, we closed 113 units, which is a highest ever for October, 28.7 million, which is highest ever for October for our company. You can see all of these highest ever, and in many cases, it's like number 2 and 3 months ever, seasonality aside. I think I said it last month. I'm going to say it again. I very much appreciate Nathan and Kathy and Denise and Tammy and everybody who is keeping up with, and everybody on the teams who's keeping up with that transaction volume. You know, we're talking about volumes that are twice the number, nearly twice the number of transactions they're used to handling. And so, you know, we all see these appraisers and lenders getting bottlenecked. Well, our own people are doing a lot of extra work and putting in a lot of extra hours. So thank you to all of them as well. Before I go on, any questions about the market? Any insights, thoughts, any discussion? Hearing none. Before I jump back into the conversation with Anthony, just a real quick announcement. I don't know if Nate, if you're here, you can speak. If not, we are in the process right now of having the new copiers installed in Carlisle. You've probably seen 25 emails, multiple videos. I think you've got text, phone calls. I really appreciate what staff has been doing to try and make sure that everybody knows what's going on. There's a computer set up in the cafe area in Carlisle that if for any reason you have trouble printing from your device, there is a device set up that will be the first one ready to go if you need to print in a pinch. I've been able to, along with many of you, to demo the new software, which it number one should allow you to print from any device without having to do a setup with Repert, which I think will make most people happy. And in addition, if you want to print something from your phone or hit the print button from home and be able to show up in either office, we're now going to be able to have the ability to do that much more easily. And so just appreciate everybody's patience with today, and excited about, you know, hopefully this should improve functionality for everybody here in the near future. Nate, did I miss anything? You can nod your head. All right, I'm moving on. All right, again, Anthony, for anybody who hasn't met the guy who just walked us through the core values exercise, Anthony Lynham is our new team leader, and I couldn't possibly be more excited for just a whole host of reasons. I've known Anthony for just a little over 10 years, and actually he taught the first class I ever took at Keller Williams 10 years ago. He was instructing that class. Since then, he's actually been in real estate for a few years before that, has owned his own brokerage, has had a company that done flips, wholesaling, hard money lending, and most recently has led a team in the York Keller Williams office through some pretty massive growth over the last 2 years. So I'm super excited that he is now part of our team, and want to want to officially welcome you here. And I'm going to stop sharing at that point. And there he is. Welcome. So you've hit the ground running. I gave the Cliff Notes version of your resume. What else should people know about you and who you are and where you've been before we dive into kind of the meat of this conversation?
Yeah, there was a lot I wanted to share today, and Matt sort of pulled me back, and I'm just the kind of person that, if you know me, Matt knows me, Julie knows me pretty well. Every morning I just enjoy getting shot out of a cannon. So it's kind of how I approach life. And so Matt's like, hey, let's just try to cover these 3 bullet points instead of all the things I wanted to shoot out of the cannon. So for you guys that know me, I'm very high energy. Hardworking was one of my core values. What got me here was being hardworking. What led to my most recent career shift was that I recognized that I may be working too hard. And everything that I enjoyed about real estate really became a bit of an overburden for my family. So, and I promise I won't make this a sad story. It's a great vision for me and my family to be part of Keller Williams. I've always been part of Keller Williams. I've always looked at this team leader role as a position that I would love to have. And I'm just extremely passionate about everything that I do. So when I decided that maybe I would transition out of the real estate investing business and find something for my family that gave me more time back, I reached out to Matt and Dave right away. So what I want you guys to take away from this is that, even though I've been in the business for 15 years, I've been investing in real estate for 20, like Matt said, owned my own brokerage and so on, like where you guys, and at least in my opinion, and from where I stand right now, like where you end up in your career and in your business is all about relationships and then the name you make for yourself, right? So like Matt and I have known each other for 10 years. Dave's worked with my brother before, and I'm not sure there's anybody in this call that would have many negative things, like real negative things to say about Dave or Matt. Maybe you do, keep them to yourself. But no, honestly, I was talking to Julie, and Julie called me about real estate investing. She had a flip. She called for some advice, and she just started praising Matt and Dave. And it was just at a point at my prior job where I was considering leaving, and it created a spark in me to say, hey, like maybe I should call these guys and at least see what they have going on. But the reality is I wouldn't have made that move, made it through 7 Keller Williams interviews and everything else. Or I wouldn't even, come here and be a part of this organization if it wasn't for their character and their leadership. And what I want you guys to take away from this is that, hopefully that's why you came. But what I want you to take away from it is that like you all carry that with you and you exemplify that as well. There's people in your lives and there's friends and family members of yours that look up to you the same way that I look up to Dave and Matt. And we're all leaders in this together. You run a service business. You could refer out any number of other businesses. You should be a hub for the people that you know. You should be a referral center. And when you are, like, that's leadership, right? People look up to you because they know, like, and trust you. That's leadership. So I know I got off in this long-winded path here, but I just wanted to share with you guys why it's so important for me at my core. And that's why I started with a core values exercise. It's so important to me at my core to be here and be with Matt and Dave and be a part of Keller Williams leadership again. So again, just wanted to share that with you guys. I think what I have to offer and what we actually plan, I didn't plan on talking about any of that, sorry. What I think we have to offer is pretty amazing, and that's going to come out of first listening. So I've met with a number of the ALC members just to get their feedback and listen to, you know, what we can improve, where the industry has gone, where are we with technology. So these aren't my questions. I just simply asked for a blank canvas. I said, hey, what do you guys need to accomplish your goals next year? Where are we struggling as a market center, or where can we improve? And then a lot of that just lined right up with what Matt and Dave already had planned for you guys. So I'm really excited about the vision of the company and where it can go, particularly because Keller Williams and Matt and Dave are adding value to agents at every level. And when I met with the ALC, Julie's running a team. So what's valuable to her is going to be different than what's valuable to Maggie, right? Michelle wants to grow her team, but also wants more time back to be parts of the associations more, right? So everybody's going to have different goals. And what I'm excited about is I think that we can put the resources together to attach success to each one of those goals, or ensure that you're going to have success trying to reach those goals. I'd say on the newer agent side of things, you know, you have Mark's productivity coaching. Want to make sure that everybody within the organization is completely familiar with how that works, how it operates, who can benefit from it. And then as you talk to people who are aspiring to be agents, where do you send them? Do you send them to Mark, or do you send them to me? Do you have Mark reach out to them about the productivity coaching program, or are you knowledgeable enough to explain it and understand it? So I think communication is another key piece where we just need to get the message of the company, the message of leadership clearly communicated, and then communicated on a consistent basis. And then, you know, we have the service level for the brokerage to the agents. So that comes from serving our new agents, independent agents, and teams. We can do that on a number of different levels. And I know that rather than sitting here and telling you all of the things that I think I can do, you know, we've began to document all of the needs. And then what we're going to do is just start knocking them down one by one. Whatever needs are most important, we put up at the top. Sounds like command is a big need, and getting training with that. And then also just for anybody who's interested, making that a central technology tool for your business as well. I can tell you, after doing this for 15 years, there's no all-in-one system. If there is, I would love if somebody could, you know, show me. So command's not going to be the all-in-one solution to everything, but I think it can get pretty close. And I just look forward to learning from some people. Like Maggie is going to teach me how to send text messages through Twilio using command. So for anybody who's tried to set up a database and a communication tool before, to have text messaging integrated into your database is a really big deal. Being on a Twilio platform, which is an AI platform that you can, so AI is just artificial intelligence. It has the ability to read the conversations and at the very least, tell you what the next step should be, or when you should reach out, or notify you when important communication comes back in. So I don't want to dive down a rabbit hole there, but when meeting with the ALC, I was asking them, each one of them, what their unique genius was. And that seemed to be Maggie's so far. And what I can tell you is, you know, for me, my unique genius is just helping you guys set up the systems and processes to build your business. And if you're building a team, it could be to scale and hire. If you're an individual agent, it's to get your time and freedom back, or it's maybe so that you can go and do twice as many transactions and not have to hire a team. So Matt's talking about bringing in these agent services. And, you know, instead of me just rambling on, let me just give you an idea of what that looks like. Like when we say systems and processes, this is just a listings process map that I wrote for our Liz Hamburger team down in York. And this was when the Liz Hamburger team's already doing 600 transactions a year utilized the listings admin in Keller Williams Keystone office. So level 7 team hires market center admin to do their listings because we lost somebody. And then what does the process map do? This goes back to clearly communicating roles and responsibilities in the process so that everybody's on the same page and nobody's running around going, I thought you were going to do that, or I thought this person was going to do that. We don't have to run through it, but this is just like, I believe, the tools and resources that we need in order to grow the market center, get to a level where the market center can service the agents on all these different levels. And then if you're growing a team, this is something I can teach you to do within your team to clearly communicate a process between your team members. So,
And if you're, I'm going to jump in right there and just say, and if you're not on a team and this looks terrifying to you, that's okay too. And that's where Anthony's strength is. That just full disclosure, that would terrify me too. It's okay. You and Dave Hook and a couple others can love that. And for the rest of us, mere mortals, will trust that you can help do that behind the scenes.
Well, so here's the cool thing about it is if you're a single agent and you're hiring the market center listings admin, all you need to do, you don't even need to do this, but it could be as simple as you hand this with your listing to the admin and say, here, are we on the same page? I mean, that's essentially what we're doing here. We're saying the agent leaves the lockbox, and the reality is the agent can change this. Now you would want a standard process, but if this gets people on the same page, if you're on a team, then you can change this. So agent leaves lockbox, agent fills out cover sheet and template for .loop. Is the listing signed in .loop, yes or no? And then they move forward. So again, it's not complicated in any way. It makes it extremely simple. And I can tell you one of the biggest benefits of this is whenever you have an issue with expectations, you can go back to the map and say, where did we mess up? It's to keep everybody on the same page, right? Avoids a lot of finger pointing or miscommunication or misunderstandings as well. I'm seeing a question in the chat box. Let me get back there real quick.
So while he goes over there, we got about 7 minutes left here. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So you've been in the role, what, 6 days now, learning vision, reorganizing our tools. We've been doing a number of things behind the scenes. We finally have the executive leadership team that we've aspired for a long time. You've got a lot of kind of reorganizing and structuring going on. What can our agents expect to see in the next 30, 60, 90 days? What does that look like for them?
Yeah, great question. Let me get out of the weeds here for a minute. So one of the things we're going to do first with the ALC is just organize these small groups. So I think what we need to do is we need to define what the small groups are. And it's actually pretty simple because the ALC has given us that feedback, right? So if communicating consistently to your sphere using command was feedback from at least four of the ALC members, we will need a small group on that. Because I'm assuming then that the rest of, and we could poll the entire company, but you can safely assume that the rest of the staff and agents will need that help as well. And then there's some standard ones like growth committee, culture committee. Culture committee, I think, is a big one for me to tackle because that's been a lot of the feedback. And it's no surprise that everybody's feeling segregated and we're lacking that sense of community given that what we just went through. So culture committee, setting up these small groups, we'll roll that out in the next 2 weeks. Inside of the first 30 days, we really want to center a focus around productivity coaching, what that program can do for new agents. And then lastly, we'll be rolling out what we can do for growth to train agents. And that would be with onboarding these new services and then training the teams in either scaling or hiring.
So when you say new services, what are you talking about?
So I'm not entirely familiar with what we have existing at the moment with Tammy and Denise, but the services that we're talking about specifically would be transaction coordination services for agents, listings marketing services for agents. And then you and I haven't talked about this a lot, but I would even venture to add in ISA services, hopefully, eventually.
Yeah, so your mindset's in the right place, and I think it all just boils back to what tools and resources can we put in the individual agent's quiver.
Oh, looks like we lost him.
Anthony.
Just say that one more time, Matt. We lost you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, so the services we're talking about are, we've got a great contract to close service available, actually 2 great options available to independent agents. And that's just one piece of the sales funnel. So just looking at other pieces of the sales process and thinking, how can we provide resources to our independent agents, just like teams have, that allow, as the independent agent wants to effectively buy back some time that they can either reinvest in their business or spend with their family. Our goal is to continue to fill those gaps for them in a way that, quite frankly, no other brokerage is.
Yeah, and I apologize, Matt, because I ran a little long on systems and processes in the database. Some of the things that, and we won't have a chance to cover everything here today, but some of the other things that we talked about were lead generation for agents. And what I found with the ALC is they're really asking for lead generation from their sphere. What I can tell you is anybody growing their business, may need to tap into some other lead generation sources as well. So we're here to help them sort those things out, make those decisions, put your money in the right place. Definitely something that I've had a ton of experience with.
Love it. Well, seeing that we got about 2 minutes left before you and I keep talking, because you and I can go on for hours. Does anybody have questions, any thoughts, feedback for Anthony?
I have
I'll
a
just-
question.
Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, no, go ahead, Dave. Mine wasn't really serious. I was going to make a joke.
Mine was just a comment that I just appreciate you leading with core values, because I often forget to think about that. And that just brought me back to what's most important in life. And that was just really awesome to see so many people put the same things in the chat. We've never done that before. And that's just a really good exercise, and I appreciated it.
All right, Michelle, what do you got?
Has anybody ever tried this pie cakin'? I mean, it's like a spin of the turducken. I'm thinking about it for Thanksgiving.
I hope you're happy.
I'm happy.
Anthony, we need your leadership on the pie taking.
Pie cakin'.
Yeah, that.
Pie cakin'.
Well, it appears that the wheels are officially falling off. So I appreciate you all being here. I know, I speak on behalf of Dave, and we feel like we're at a point that we've been pushing really, really hard to get to for a really long time. And, in anywhere where we've fallen short up until this point, I apologize and thank you for your patience. And just know that I am more excited probably than you've seen me in a long time. And so to Kim's point, the future is bright. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy some sunshine.
For sure.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We'll be in touch.